right. Get your gremlins done. And all those people that have your hand up, hands down. 301. And who's the other one? Yeah. Put your hands down. I didn't tell you to put your hands up just yet. All right, everyone. We've got a unique time of year here. In exactly 1 year from now, we are going to be having an election here in the United States. Who knows what will happen between now and then? But exactly 1 year from now, there are going to be large volumes of energy blowing out the doors of all us conscious, aware beings of choice. And things are going to happen. Things that you got to prepare for. Great mass distractions into nothingness. Things trying to lure you into charge and polarity. And above all else, your own awakening is going to be happening at the same time. Now, since early 2012, I've been talking about something called a daily practice. I hear you talk about it with callers all the time, that they have to start a daily practice. But you got to find a daily practice you can start with that you have joy behind. Many of you hear me do the prayers here. Many of you hear the variety of things that I do. Some apply and some don't. The application and implementation is inner work. And many people fall victim to the application and implementation. Are they victimized by it? If you have a victim mentality, yes. It's taking time away from doing this or that, and you're not allowing the true joy to come behind it. When you go to watch a television show that you really like, or go to read a book that you really like, you go through a process of suspension of disbelief. Now, how many people have heard that term? If you are in the chat room, go ahead and type in what you think the term suspension of belief is. And some of you are probably Googling it right now, and you're going, wow, hey, didn't he do a show on that in 2016? Yes, I did. Very powerful, very informative show of what it takes to suspend belief and disbelief. When you go to watch a superheroes show and they get punched and they go through a building, can't survive like that. Or you're just watching a standard cops TV show and there's no superheroes, and yet the person takes a beating that should, kill them, and yet there's no blood, or so on and so forth. There's this suspension of belief and disbelief. The same thing applies to spirituality when one sits down to do their meditation, their daily practice. You're suspending the belief and the disbelief, the world around you and the world inside of you. That is a mechanical journey in your own chemical process of allowing yourself to be. Now, how many people have come to these shows over and over again? For what reason? So if you want you to write into the chat room, why do you come to the shows? All the regular people that are coming. Disengaging from the social media memes, expansion. Come on, everyone, get into that chat room to learn. Okay? Grounding inspirational truth. What is it going to take for you today, as a listener, to suspend your belief and disbelief? What's it going to take? How many speeches have I given that are mind-blowing? Do I have to top myself every show? That's I actually ask you that question. Do I have to top myself every show? I feel I have to top myself every show at times. That's the type of person that I am, though. But I also know that every show is going to be its own show, but it's what I take so I can go through my inner journey of suspension of belief and suspension of disbelief. Not to engage the sacred neutrality. It's what it takes with all the projections from everyone. That's true. I meet people just where they are. That's my special skill. Zero judgment, neutrality. So I'm going to pop into my little speechy thing here. Uno minuto. What is the I am presence? So if you're here in the chat room or if you're listening in the future, what is the I am presence? It is the ever-present coexisting you that is also simultaneously existing equal to your level of awareness. The key is to equal your level of awareness. I profess the out loud name it to claim it system, which is I am presence training. So one may know thyself, feel thyself, discern thyself through expanding their awareness of what they're responsible in this moment of now. As listeners, what are you responsible for in this journey here today? What is your responsibility? We live in a placebo-based engine of reality. To get us all to the Zoom room into the simulcast, there's all sorts of placebo engagements in this engine of reality that has got ourselves here. As much as a suspension and dispension, a suspension of belief and suspension of disbelief to all get us here. Most of us in this room don't know what it takes to code and make Zoom work or to any of these simulcast situations that connect us to wherever you are, yet we believe it works. Do we all know how our telephones work? No. But we put belief into it, don't we? Wink, wink. We put belief. Suspension of disbelief without the expectation of instant gratification. Think of that. Suspension of disbelief without the expectation of instant gratification. I'm going to put that there in the chat room for you all to ponder. Suspension of disbelief without the expectation of instant gratification. Break that word, those sentences down. In a television show that you guys love to watch, they have a formula. Suspension of disbelief without the expectation of instant gratification is a state of awareness that your responsibility does not allow you to jump into irresponsible forms of information. I cannot tell you how many times I've had people call and they want to know something, and the first question is that they get is, "Why need my lotto numbers?" Or "Why, if you're so special, why haven't you won the lotto?" It doesn't work that way. And then they get into this debate of why it doesn't work that way. Suspension of disbelief without the expectation of instant gratification is a way to define yourself in a state of awareness, in a state of being, that you are engaging the mystical, but also understand you cannot instantly gratify yourself with the mystical. Key understanding so many people do not understand. Being a signature frequency match for disbelief, suspension of disbelief without expectation of instant gratification is in the essence of allowing the law of attraction and repulsion to focus on you based off your abilities to be neutral. Stuff is always coming to us, to and from us, even in our neutral states. Ponder that for a minute. Ponder, ponder, ponder. So when you guys are doing the meditation teachings, let's say the Sanctuary for All Souls, the one that comes with the Living the Mystical Life daily course, the heart meditation, or anybody's meditation, are you engaging the suspension of belief? Yes, you are. So I want you to right now to give your belief a wedgie and suspend it on a hook. Give your belief a wedgie and suspend it on a hook. Okay, I'm going to put that in the chat room here. Give your belief a wedgie and suspend it on a hook. Poof! As my curtain comes down. Just 1 second here. Let me fix this. One second.
I can't do anything about that, Andrew.
Alrighty. Hopefully it won't come back down. We are getting a massive snowstorm over here. Yes, synchronicity of the curtain coming down. Because I told you all to suspend your belief. So, Galactic Butterfly, there I am hanging by my knickers. That's right. Hanging in for what? Stay. It may come down again. Okay. What are you hanging in there for? Pow. Can you give yourself an IV placebo drip? Think about it. An IV placebo drip. Can you believe in yourself enough? You do it in your meditations. You do it in your daily practice. You do it all the time. Can you see the mechanics that you can use at any moment in time, far away from this show, in any other situation where you can suspend your belief and disbelief? Eva's iPad. It's just making sure I understand suspending belief is neutral. What's far more than that. It's a mechanical process in a state of awareness that you have to choose to engage. That's why I'm giving long pauses here for you all to understand. It's a state of awareness too. Can you suspend the belief of tactile reference or cognitive functions? Pow! I'm going to think who can get this one. Suspend the belief of tactile reference or cognitive functions. You guys do this all the time in dreaming, lucid dreaming. So suspend the belief of tactile reference and cognitive functions so you can be the ever-present being of this moment of now, then, and will be in equal co-creation, non-competition, non-hierarchical order with all the versions and aspects of yourself that are not here to compete with the past, the present, or the future. That is enlightenment. I, in this ever-present moment of now, choose to form a multi-layered spiritual cord of alchemical equity. Knowing what I have just said, I, in this ever-present moment of now, acknowledging that I am a being, suspending belief and disbelief, choose to form a multi-layered spiritual cord of alchemical equity, for the express purpose of sharing the Akashic Records of the proper scale and size, so the beings of light may manifest now, may reclaim their birthright and legacy as sovereign beings in this beings of conscious choice. Conscious choice to be a part of a field of awareness, the hub of interconnectivity. Am I being confusing, or am I giving you direct statements that you all have to chew and chew and chew and chew some more, and maybe you have to spit out because your jaw's going to get tired, and then chew some more? Until such a time you realize the act of chewing, you are not suspending your belief. Too many people call up the show, they're stuck in over-processing, always processing, process. They're chewers and not digesters. Digesting a perspective and a perception is just as important as chewing it. So from Phadrana, isn't that once we are in the state of being, it is not even a conscious choice at anymore, or is it a being of conscious choice becomes second nature? Well, it doesn't come second nature until you've reached enlightenment and done a daily practice that lasts decades upon decades, like the great monks, oming monks, because you're still living in the world that's trying to siphon life force and extensions from you. There's more to this. A conscious being of choice is understanding that I, in this ever-present moment of being, must use my sovereign free will 100% of the time. How many of you have a phone on in the background as a choice that might engage a program that will distract you? Or have notifications on, or whatever it is that can engage something that's not your I am presence choices right now. Until you really understand what 100% sovereign free will means, all these aspects that I'm bringing you to are the tens of thousands of choice points at any moment in time that we are faced with in a 100% sovereign free will world, so that tacit consent isn't used against us. And why is tacit consent used against us? Because it's a world of domination and control, and not dominion with our brothers and sisters. Brothers and sisters. All right, Robert, let's spin up that wheel of callers and see who's got the capacity to use suspension of belief and suspension of disbelief and engage a new caller. So everybody, if you want to be a caller, go ahead and reach on in there and raise that hand.
There we go. Now we see some hands.
All right, guest 7047. You were going to be unmuted with Andrew.
Guest 7047, are you there?
Hi, Andrew. It's Irene.
What's your name?
Irene.
Hi, Irene. How you doing today?
I'm well. Sorry to hear you're not feeling too well. I hope you get better soon.
Yes. Where are you calling from today?
Maryland.
Welcome to the show. What did you want to talk about?
I was wondering if you could give me some insight on a lucid dream I had.
Okay.
So, in the dream, my daughter came in my bedroom, turned on a very bright light, and said there was somebody here to see me. So I got up, and she brought in this 9 to 10 foot luminous woman with long silver hair who looked exactly like me, and she says she was me 1,000 years from now. So I followed her into the living room, and there was this large pool, and she said it was a rejuvenation pool, and she was swimming in it, but her hair was no longer there. It was, she had like a crystal, clear crystal and blue skull in the shape of a helmet. And there was another pool with a young man sitting there, and I sat beside him. And we started talking about, he was planning a new incarnation. And we were talking about, I asked him if he had decided yet what he was going to do. It was a very unusual house. It was very bright white adobe house. And then I went to the kitchen, and my current husband was in the kitchen with somebody. It looked futuristic, but it also looked current. And I've always wondered what a dream like that would mean.
How long ago did you have that dream?
I started lucid dreaming about 4 years ago, so it's about 4 years ago now.
And you've not had any other dreams similar to that?
I'm sorry, say that again?
Have you had any other dreams that are similar to that?
No, but I started playing around with the lucid dreaming, so I would realize at nighttime I was in a dream, and I decided that I was going to try and force my eyes open to see my current furnishing, which I was able to do. It was very difficult to get my eyes open, but I was able to do it and see that I was in my current circumstances, but still be in the dream.
Yeah,
And,
that's the wrong thing to do. That's the absolute wrong thing to do for lucid dreaming.
Okay. So I have lucid dreams very, very often. Sometimes you're in them. Sometimes you're giving instruction to a group of people. It's just, they're very different from ordinary dreams, and I was just wondering why that is.
They're not dreams, that's why.
Oh, okay.
You're tuning into alternate realities.
Okay.
How long have you been trying to force your eyes open in lucid dreaming?
I only did it once.
Okay.
Because I was having them.
Don't do that anymore. Whenever you're trying to force your eyes open in lucid dreaming, you're already in sleep paralysis. And you're going to cause damage to your dreaming body if you're trying to force your eyes open while you're in sleep paralysis.
Okay.
2, you're putting yourself in a situation where you're not getting into full dream states and engaging astral awareness and perception, and you're tuning into other things that are co-happening all the time. So the nature of the dream was about a future you that was going through an evolution, but that future you could only go through the evolution if you decide to evolve today, tomorrow, this week, next week, this year, next year, and the year after that, where you take on the responsibility of yourself, not that future being who's going through an evolution, so that the future generations have the potential of a change that never existed for them before, because we are now doing things for us, the I am presence of this moment means of the now. It's an evolutionary dream. And it's saying that you have to step up in your own evolutionary personal process so that the future generations of you have potentials that never existed before.
Okay.
Now, you only had one of those dreams. You only had one of those dreams. If you had 6 or 7, we'd be talking in a different scenario. You've only had one, though. And that was 4 years ago, and you're hanging on to it, trying to give it more validation and reference than it needs.
Okay. So in general, what do lucid dreams mean?
Most of the time, nothing.
Okay.
Until such a time that you understand it only means something in the moment. A lot of people hang on to dreams from 20, 30, 40, 50 years ago, and they don't get anything else out of it other than it was a connected moment. And it's reminding you that to have connected moments, we must be at peace with ourselves when we go into our deepest of sleeps, so that revelations can truly be revelations. See, you're not hearing what you wanted to hear. I can hear it in yourself. No, let me help you out here. you're not hearing what you want to hear. There's a part of you that wanted that dream to mean a lot more, and you've been holding on to it for 4 years. If it was meant to be more, you would have figured it out already. It's just a marker in the road that you have to keep traveling on the road. Lucid dreaming is not all it's cracked up to be. I tell you that. You could have superior mystical experiences in a non-lucid dreaming state. And that's what you're searching for, right?
Well, I've been doing what you recommended at nighttime. I have a process where I dream with the sentience of the planet and my ancestors. So it's a little different.
Mm-hmm.
And I've been doing that for a couple of years.
Mm-hmm. And you got a validation and confirmation that the future you was evolving. Now what?
Now what? What? I mean,
Exactly.
I don't know.
Now what? This is why when you throw all your eggs into the dreaming, I am presence dreaming basket, you've used up your eggs. You've got to plant seeds and eggs all over your dreaming and non-dreaming reality.
For what purpose?
So that you could have multiple experiences, not just in the lucid dreaming egg basket. It's an infinite world out there, layered on top of each other. Lucid dreaming is just one road on the infinite highway of existence. Let me help you out here. You've over-focused on one subject. Now you've got to learn to become a jack of many subject trades and start planting seeds and eggs all over your reality, up and down, left and right, seen and unseen.
And how is that done?
Do you really not know? Come on. Come on. You've been listening for me how long? Starts with prayer. Okay? How do you plant a seed in your own reality? Well, when you want to make a manifestation, I make this moment sacred so that when I'm in an awareness state, I can have masterful pattern recognition. Go to places of power, give your offers of energy, ancestral offerings. Meditations that help you reveal pattern recognitions. You suffer from overfocus. And I use the word suffer. You've put a laser focus on it, and now you've got to back off the focus and see the wholeness of the reality in which you can plant seen and unseen seeds everywhere for yourself. So that your masterful pattern recognition can work. The whole point of using lucid dreaming is to be able to be in a state where you can be in masterful pattern recognition, seen and unseen. Lucid dreaming isn't a TV series or a movie that you watch. It's your state to use the seen and unseen, dreaming and non-dreaming worlds, ancestral value worlds, and use masterful pattern recognition so that when you are awake and aware, the I am presence you has more awareness of what's going on in lucid and non-lucid moments. That's why we train ourselves as I am presence beings to live in these moments of now, to be masterful pattern recognizers. What patterns have you put together in your own seen and unseen world that have helped validate you're doing the right things?
I don't know. I've actually never thought about it before. I was just trying to understand what exactly dream patterns mean.
You have to have a series of patterns, not one dream. That the one dream doesn't make a pattern. This is why I've said you're over-focused.
You mean on that one dream?
On everything, on your whole application of your practice. Listen, this is just part of the journey. Okay, example, if you're on a 24K race and you're 16K into it and you don't want to give up, you focus. And the next thing you know, you're on 23.5K and you come out of that focus and I'm almost there. You just were in a moment where you were over-focused. You've got to understand that this is a long-term journey. Just back up. See the big picture of what you're doing, seen and unseen. What is it what you do for your daily self that gives you joy and happiness? Write it down. What is it you do for your spiritual advancement? Write that down so that you can make an overview and begin to understand the strategy of what you're doing through your own personal pattern recognition. You got to get many layers of perspective to come together and form a new form of perception. All right, darling, I gotta let you go and move on to my next caller. Thanks so much for calling in.
Thank you.
All right, Robert, let's move on to the next wheel of callers and see who comes in.
Okay, our next caller will be Leah. Leah, you're unmuted with Andrew.
Leah, are you there?
Yes, I am. Can you hear me?
Yes, where are you calling from today?
Helena, Montana.
Helena, Montana, welcome to the show. So what did you want to talk about today?
There's always so many things, right? But after today's conversation, realizing that I get in my own way a lot of my manifestation because I muddy the waters with my expectations and things. I guess I want to talk about creating your earth dream and how you take those ideals of yourself and your life and make them real.
First thing first, I hear a little bit of a martyring zealot in your voice.
Yeah.
Creating the earth dream. Why is that so important? As a baby cries in the background.
I think it has something to do with a sense of legacy and
And you got tears in the back of your voice as you're saying it.
and responsibility.
Yeah, tears are flowing out. So you already are living the earth dream. Can you
Thank
accept
you for that reminder. Yes.
Can you accept that? Today, tomorrow, next week, next month, and next year, can you accept that?
Yes.
I don't think you can.
Ever?
No, right now you can't. You get inside your own way. You just admitted it, right?
Yes.
A week or a month from now, something's going to get a crawl up your butt, and all the stuff you've done to say that it's enough isn't going to be enough.
Because patterns repeat.
And you get pissed when the patterns repeat.
Yeah, I sure do.
What ultimately
is that a learned habit?
You created a story as a way out. Unfortunately, a lot of people in the awoken world create a story, and that's their way out. You got to stop creating a way out. You're already in it and out of it simultaneously.
Is that about multiple selves, or is that just about my mind state?
You, this I am monkey mind, who complexes your story all the time.
Yeah.
That it can't be that simple. 99.999% of the times, it is that simple. So why were there tears behind your voice to make your earth dream?
Because my mom died and she was a part of it.
Still part of it now.
I think that's what I'm
Do you feel
struggling
love
with
for
the
her?
most. Yes.
Do you feel love for her?
Yes.
Expand that love and expand that love. Palpably feel that love for her. And say out loud, Mom, I grieve for your loss.
Mom, I grieve for your loss.
For you are not in my hologram.
For you are not in my hologram.
We are now a part of the universal hologram.
We are now part of the universal hologram.
And I dream the great dream. Peace.
And I dream the great dream.
Here now.
Here now.
For you are a part of my earth dream, Mother.
For you are the part of my earth dream, Mother.
You are my guide and guardian.
You are my guide and guardian.
For you gave me birth.
For you gave me birth.
And I now honor you
And I now honor you
as part of my living dream.
as part of my living dream.
And my rites of passage into being a woman.
My rites of passage into being a woman.
And finish this grieving process.
And finish this breathing process.
For I know you are never not a part of me.
Where I know you are never not a part of me.
Separate.
Repeat that.
You are never separate.
You are never separate.
For we are all the living earth dream.
We are all the living earth dream.
Me dreaming you.
Me dreaming you.
You dreaming me.
You dreaming me.
And the earth mother dreaming all of us.
And the earth mother dreaming all of us.
We are the dream and the dreamer.
We are the dream and the dreamer.
And I honor you, Mother,
And I honor you, Mother,
as I grieve
as I dream
and grieve.
and breathe.
How long ago did your mother pass?
Just over a year ago. And I don't really know how it happened, which I think is another layer of inability to let go.
Mhm.
And
How
I
did
don't even know if I want to know. But of course, since you're on the phone, it's like I want clarity,
Do you want clarity or instant gratification?
right?
Do you even know if you want clarity or instant gratification?
I mean, I feel like I want both. The ego wants to know because it wants to know so it can tell the story.
But you could have demanded an autopsy a year ago.
Yeah.
You can do one right now. You can have the body exhumed and have an autopsy if you think there was nefarious energies behind it.
Right.
Do you?
So I guess I don't know because I don't need to know.
Do you think there were nefarious energies behind it?
No.
So then what do you need to know? And why do you need to know it?
I guess I want to know if her spiritual practice was worth it, because she did the work, so to speak. Every day she had a practice and she was dedicated and a really good
Do you feel
example.
do you feel that she's a discarnate spirit who hasn't passed on?
No.
So then you doubt practice itself.
I've always struggled with practice, whether it was piano practice, yoga practice, spiritual practice.
So the death of your mother is revealing that you have a broken faith.
Yes.
And your mother isn't there to help fix your broken faith.
Right. It's like she was my guru and I didn't take advantage of her while she was here. And
Yes,
now
you
I don't
did.
know how to find her.
Yes, you could find her in your heart. Pick up a picture. Talk to her. They're just afraid.
I am.
Afraid that you have to find faith like she did. Don't be afraid of your faith. Don't be afraid of your faith. What broke your, think about it. What broke your faith?
I might have to write about that one for a while. I'm not sure.
In this moment of now, I want you to suspend your belief in everything you know, just like we talked about, and ask yourself, what broke my faith? In this suspension of belief and disbelief, I am entitled to know what broke my faith.
I mean, the word change keeps coming up, but I don't know what that means. Colossal change.
Try harder. Get out of your own way. What broke your faith?
Death? That's a question. I don't. Church. Sin.
How did church break your faith?
Because I think it taught me that I wasn't right as I was.
Are you ready to forgive yourself for that now?
Yeah.
What is it going to take?
But no, because I was just listening to Christian radio the other day. Like, maybe there's something I missed in all of this. And it didn't make me feel any better.
So you're following it out of guilt. Are you ready to forgive yourself for that? So you can mend and repair your faith. Faith need not a religion or esoteric practice.
Just need to reconnect to my practices. I know that will help. And I look to you for inspiration, but I struggle, like you said, with the daily application of being present.
Present enough with all of your faith intact so that your daily practice has a lot more value to it.
So
what do you really want out of your life?
I want enlightenment. I mean, I really seek spiritual contentment and understanding above all else.
Well, that comes with a lot of deep inner work, and you don't get enlightened with a broken faith.
I'm aware of that. And I think that's why I get so frustrated with myself.
Mm-hmm. You're trying to use a square peg in a polyhedron hole. Okay? You can't be the square peg anymore. The square peg represents your broken faith. You got to be able to morph and change with the reality around you. That's the nature of growth.
And sometimes I feel like I'm really in synchronicity and I'm really in it. And then just as quickly, I fall back into the chaos of
Mm-hmm. And
the
what's
body.
the trigger? What's the trigger of chaos? Money flow?
Separation.
How much of it has to do with the flow of money?
For me, I've always had a block with money.
Mm-hmm.
Even though I try to reframe it as energy.
But you're still seeking an instant gratification answer to your money issues, thinking money will solve your broken faith, but it won't. You can fix your broken faith totally broke, but you don't believe you can.
Where do those like fears of lack come from in me? Is that something I can fix in the here and now, or that I need to do like meditative work to reconnect strings or something.
My curtain fell again. It's not something you can do in one moment of now. It's going to take many moments of now in which you use the pattern recognition of why your broken faith is directly linked to the volume of money that you have. So 1 second, let me fix this curtain here.
Well, I mean, I'm just going to be super blunt when I say I did sex work in college, and I'm still pretty fucked up from that. Pardon my language.
How long were you into it?
Not long, just 6 or 8 months, if that.
How much
And
money
it
did
was-
you? How much money did you make?
I don't know, probably 10 grand.
Okay. And how many years ago was college?
10 years ago.
Okay. And how much money have you made since then? On regular jobs?
Like maybe 30 grand.
So you never really had a job that's ever paid you anything other than the sex work, which made you 10 grand in 8 months.
Yeah.
You don't think that there's any inner judgment on there?
Oh, there is a lot.
Mm-hmm. Your journey here is to understand that lack goes very deep inside you. And the choice to do the sex work was a way to cover up lack. But ultimately, the damage that it did to you is the damage that it did to you, which it still compounded lack in you in general.
It's strange because I was brought up like pretty privileged. Like we weren't poor. I was an only child, gifted really with an ideal childhood. And so maybe my lack is that I didn't appreciate because I didn't have to manifest any of that. I was all freely given love and security and money. And
Yet you still chose to make fast cash for 8 months in college.
yeah, I wanted a snowboard. And my parents wouldn't pay for it. So I decided to make money myself as quickly as possible.
Did you get the snowboard?
Yep. And then I tore my ACL.
You got a lot of inner forgiveness work to do.
I know, Andrew, and I appreciate your time so much. My inner forgiveness is already like, you're taking up too much radio airtime. Like,
No,
let someone else talk.
Relax a second here. You have to understand something. The inner work you're doing, you're comparing all of it to how much inner work your mother's done. And your sense of lack also goes to your spiritual world. Okay? You cannot judge your spiritual work versus the way your mother does. Yours is what your work is, was, and will be. Stop comparing your work to anyone else's. Your work has to validate you.
It's so hard to line up knowing that, like my deep inner self knows that, and then trusting that is something entirely different.
Because you're breaking trust and faith.
So can you give me some insight onto a daily practice or a series of things that will help me, a particular revocation or a meditation? Or
there's no one individual practice that's going to make a difference. It's literally about the aggregate of what you do over many months. And break down the word aggregate, all of the work. Start with blanket forgiveness. For 10 to 15 days, the majority of your word is, I forgive myself for this. I forgive myself for that. I forgive myself for taking on projections. I forgive myself for doing these things. I forgive myself. I forgive myself. I forgive myself. Blanket self-forgiveness of anything that's shame, blame, or guilt. Anything that's shame, blame, and guilt that's put onto you by others, I forgive them. Anything that's shame, blame, and guilt from yourself, you forgive yourself. But start with the self first. 10 days, 10 to 12 days of just this forgiving of the self. I forgive myself for the sex work. I forgive myself for this. I forgive myself for all of that. 10 solid days. That's using the bulldozer. And then you're going to do 10 solid days of forgiving any of the external projections of shame, blame, and guilt. Okay? And then the last 10 days of the month, you're going to learn that sometimes we've internalized other people's projections, which is what you've done with your mother. Things that she never actually told to you, but you took on as projection and internalized. "30 days of self-forgiveness." Start there. After the 30 days of self-forgiveness, you've got to be able to tackle why abundance won't flow for you. I have a couple suggestions, but I got to probe a little bit here so you can understand them. Do you have a job now? Did you drop? I think she dropped.
Yeah, she dropped. Hopefully she'll be back.
Yeah. If she comes back, let's bring her back on.
Yeah. Watch out. Alrighty. Our next runner-up will be Ruxandra. Ruxandra, you're unmuted with Andrew.
Ruxandra, are you there?
Hello, Andrew. Can you hear me?
Yes. Where are you calling from today?
Awesome. I'm calling from Romania.
From Romania. Welcome to the show. What did you want to talk
I'm
about
glad to
today?
be here. First of all, I want to thank you because I found your information on the internet and it's very helpful. And I've been listening to you for maybe a few months from the summer, more seriously. And I've been into soul contract revocation for a few years. Mostly because I had a problem with some guys which were followers of Gurdjieff's teachings, if you know Gurdjieff. And ever since I met them a few years ago, I've been very messed up with, I mean, psychically. They were using me as a graphic designer, but they were actually very weird and playing all sorts of psychological games with me. And ever since I met them, my life has been a bit. I felt I've been messed with in my timelines in a way, that I'm not on my path anymore. And when I've been into their group, I met them. I mean, in society, they are very innocent, so I couldn't find something to reproach them. But they had little challenges for me, or mind games, or I don't know how to explain this. In a way, they've made me lose my personality.
You sure they
Overall.
didn't help you lose, or you lost your personality because
Yeah, I
something
felt. They were very narcissistic, if I could say something.
Are you an empath?
Yeah, I take in.
Empaths lose themselves to narcissist people all the time.
Yes, I feel this is a struggle for me because I have this type of relationship with my mother, with my friends. I'm very easily rejected or dismissed, and I feel the need to please people all the time. And the interaction with the group.
Can you stop doing that?
It's very hard. I mean, I try to, but
why do you have to please everyone?
Basically, I feel that if I don't please people, I will be very alone and isolated and vulnerable. Like I
Is that,
feel the
do you
need to be
think that's,
safe.
do you think that's real though? If you're not pleasing everyone all the time, that you're going to be alone?
Well, I am alone. I ended up alone. I mean, for how much
Okay.
I try to please everyone.
So there's a vicious cycle there.
Yeah.
I assure you, if you stop pleasing people if you stop 90% of pleasing everyone, all sorts of other people are going to pop up around you. What
Well,
you
I'm
need to,
waiting for that.
listen, what you need to heal from is narcissists imprinting on you, because you've lost how to be you, and you're trying to please everyone else, and you don't know how to please yourself anymore.
Well, I try. I mean, I buy crystals. I'm into crystals lately.
Mm-hmm.
And I try to meditate and try to eat as healthy as I can. But I don't have any other pleasures
Buy,
like going out.
buying a crystal and eating right, those are minor things. Those are self-gratification journeys.
Yeah. But I haven't had that relief, like being actually happy and for a sustained period of time.
Mm-hmm.
Usually I drop into
That's
sadness.
because that's the way you grew up. Every time you got happy, your mom became a cunt, or your dad did something, or somebody around you destroyed your happiness.
Yeah, well, my mom and dad are separated ever since I was a kid, but we were very judged. And I grew up at the countryside where everybody was pointing fingers at everybody, and gossip was the main way to go.
Mm-hmm. Are you still in that?
No, now I'm in Bucharest and I'm blocked every almost in every avenue. I'm trying to find a job and I cannot. And I wanted to know, actually, my question was if they messed with me in any way, because I felt that that group has altered
No,
my.
no. They are narcissists, and you have lost yourself to the narcissists, and you have to reclaim yourself from the narcissist. Let me tell you, this group is not well experienced and doesn't really know how to manipulate people's timelines. Stop giving them that much power. They're
Yeah,
idiots.
that was my interpretation.
They're idiots. Okay? So can you forgive yourself for giving your power away to a bunch of idiots?
I think that this is hard to do.
Because you're going to feel shame from it.
Yeah, mostly because they kind of manipulated me into having sex with one of them, and I felt so gaslighted, and I didn't want to do it. And
You could have walked away, but you didn't. Come on.
I was afraid.
Afraid of what? Being alone?
Yeah.
You're alone now. Okay, you're alone now.
Yeah.
Do you feel shame? Do you feel shame for being pressured in to have sex with one of them?
Yes, I felt ashamed and I didn't want to do it, but I sort of did it because I wanted to
Fit in.
prove. I don't know. I felt pressured, and before that, I had sex with people in order to deprogram myself and to prove to myself that I don't judge people's bodies in a way.
Mm-hmm.
But I've never had sex out of love for a very long time. And they were messing with me, telling me that I shouldn't mess emotions with sex, that I should have sex just as an expression in a way.
But you
Like
knew that wasn't real.
I I knew deep inside that they were playing with me, but on a surface level, I couldn't react the way I wanted to.
Because
Maybe this is where I failed.
you didn't have the guts to walk away. You didn't have the
Yes,
guts to walk away. Call the narcissist bluff. You have to heal from being around a bunch of narcissists. That's what you have to heal from. You put an honest, solid week's effort into breaking down what narcissism is, was, and the damage it's done to you, you will find a job.
I tell this to myself and to everyone, but it's like I cannot gain consciousness over it. Right now I'm talking to you, but I'm not fully conscious of what I'm saying.
Because you're not because as an empath, you were constantly solving everyone else and you were in their bodies all the time. That's what you did as an empath.
Yes.
You don't know how to be in your body and please yourself anymore.
Yes, I'm mostly dissociated.
Stop the disassociation.
Yeah, I will try to. I mean, I don't know. I'm afraid of being conned in the same way, and I cannot trust anyone right now.
That's the
Honestly.
that's the narcissistic damage talking, not the real you. The one who won't go through the healing of the shame that you have to go through. And the forgiveness of what you went through.
I want to tell you another thing, which I think relates to the same wound. I've been in love with a professor I had in school, at the art school, and I felt very ashamed of this. I told him in an email, and he sort of put me at a distance, put me at bay in a way. And I've had sexual dreams with him and also nightmares with him rejecting me. And I felt psychically attacked by him or by a woman around him. I don't know exactly whom, but it was a lot of interference and similar to the narcissistic projections that I've had from the group. And I woke up in the middle of the night with a lot of entities and creepy stuff. I don't know, and a lot of soul fragments of his, like having his word piercing my body from my crown chakra to my root chakra, like a sort of seal through words in which he rejects me. I don't know if I describe this, but this is how I feel. It's like he tries to let me know that he rejects me, but also that he does. I don't know, but I cry so much and I felt so much pain in my whole body. And
First thing first,
2 days ago, I cried.
stop. You're being manipulated by a ghost. Every time you think that's him sending you energy back, it's not.
All right.
You have a lot of issues when it comes to losing yourself with other people. You did it with the other group of people you're with. You did it with this professor. You got to stop losing yourself. And that's engaging the stuff around you that doesn't want you to be you. So the majority of what you just told me is you were not engaging with the real professor in any way, shape, or form. As soon as you told me there was a blockade spirit, those are your own guides and guardians trying to tell you to stop. You're engaging a negative spirit. You can't help yourself, though, because you're so afraid of being alone.
Yeah, I'm afraid, but that's what I do all the time. I'm alone.
That's the vicious cycle, and that's a ghost feeding off of you.
Is it a ghost from my family?
No, it's something that comes and goes from what's around you. One day it's this ghost, one day it's that, they feed off of misery. And you are one of those beings that's keeping yourself stuck in misery.
Okay, I see.
You can't choose misery anymore. Okay?
Okay.
Do you want to be sexually active?
I think that it's a no more than a yes. But that is because I had partners which didn't care much for me. And I decided at some point that I don't want to engage sexually with no one. Like after my last two serious relationship, which I had 6 years ago, I couldn't have a partner, a stable partner.
But that's really what you're still silently still seeking a stable partner, though.
Yes, I am. I mean, I want someone to care about me, and I feel
So
super alone.
you're sending messages out to the universe. You want a stable partner, but you're losing yourself to narcissistic people. You're not ready to have a relationship. And you got to tell every fiber of your body, I'm not ready to have a relationship. And whatever part of me is demanding people come in or I lose themselves to them, I can't do that anymore. You got to work solely on you. You may have to make a determination of going celibate for 1 year and understand that's a spiritual journey, not a sexual needs journey.
Yeah, probably I've been choosing this unconsciously, and it doesn't have any value, so to speak.
But it does have value. Sexuality is a vital part of our human existence. You just need to go through a detoxification of the sexual valuing you've been giving yourself or the devaluing that you've been going through.
Yeah, but how do I do this?
Very carefully.
I've
Be
been
who you
trying to
are.
cut.
You're already alone. You're already alone. Be who you are. Fuck them. You're not there trying to gather or get a relationship. Be who the fuck you want to be all times.
Yeah, I related to
Flaunt
the
it.
ghost.
You get rid of the ghost by stop being in misery.
Okay, I had a lot of thoughts which were very mean and abrupt and curses and stuff like that, and I was wondering if that's myself or that's my shadow that I need to
Both.
integrate.
Both. Those are the things you need to heal. Much like the other caller, you need to go through a blanket forgiveness of the stuff that you've gone through, especially losing yourself to the narcissists.
Okay. Thank you, Andrew. Thank
Try
you very
30
much.
days, 30 days of full-on forgiveness for everything that you've gone through. Because it's about you forgiving yourself, detoxifying from the narcissists that you've been around.
Okay, thank you. I will do that.
Okay, I got one more question for you. How long have you been out of a job for?
I have had projects, but 2 years or so.
Are you just trying to do freelance graphic arts work?
Yeah. I'm afraid of having a job because I know that I lose myself. After a few days, I'm just lying in bed and I cannot lift myself up because of the emotions and what I take in from other people. I observe a lot. I tried to do summers ago, and I was crying after going to the job all the time.
And what was the job?
At an animation studio, I was called to help them with something, and it was like an internship, and I couldn't stay there. I've been scapegoated in a way. I'm easily scapegoated, and then I choose to leave ultimately. But it's like I see all the dynamics between people and the shadow and what they mean exactly through their games, and I cannot play the games and I cannot participate fully in the social interactions because I'm very strict on what they actually mean.
Because you're an empath dealing in a world, you've got to turn your empathy off.
Turn my empathy on,
Off.
off. Okay.
You're so into the other people's realities, it's affected your reality. There's a whole reason why we don't have telepathy, because there's so much junk going on in people's minds. We'll never trust another human being, which is what you've done. Your empathy is so accurate, and yet there are thoughts and structures that people think about that they never act on, but you think they are.
Yes, exactly. I mean, for me, it's a
Well,
reality.
you literally got to pull your empathy back and turn it off.
Okay. So I'm not ignorant for doing this.
No, you're just over empathetic, and you stop being over empathetic.
Okay. I will do this. I will practice forgiveness and then try
And
to
learn how to turn your empathy off of. Now, there's a couple shows ago, Dave and I talked specifically about over empathizing and turning on too much empathy. And I would advise you to go back and listen to those shows, as well as picking up a book on why empaths are lost to narcissists. Okay?
Okay.
Okay. All right, darling, I got to let you go. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right, Robert, I think I'm going to end the show today for all my falling curtains and everything and being sick on Monday. I think it's time to end this show, but we shall be back tomorrow for our Friday webcast. All right, thank you, everyone, and we will be back tomorrow for an ongoing show.
Actually, really quick, Andrew, I have a correction on that. There is no show tomorrow. We have one a week from tomorrow.
Oh, sorry, a week from tomorrow.
Yeah, I wasn't going to play a video quite yet.
Okay.
Okay.
All right, we shall be back next week. All right, guys, take it easy.